But first, you're in for a treat because we have Diane Rule from Accenture. And Diane's going to be speaking to you for a few minutes before the panel starts. Diane recently took a new role in HR at Accenture, and she is leading the partnership with the Mom Project. She's going to talk about the importance that Accenture is putting on women reentering the workforce, in addition to keeping them closely tethered as well, so helping them understand, how to work remotely and work at Accenture. And so let's give a great big emoji chat welcome to Diane Rue.
I love it, Gail. Thank you. Thank you for bringing the energy. You lifted my energy. That was awesome. And I love the way you did the storytelling. That was very much right up my alley. So first of all, thank you everyone for spending Friday afternoon / evening / morning. I know we have people who are here from around the globe with us today. There are moments in time where you just feel like things are very serendipitous. I've been using that phrase a lot recently because I was asked to speak during this session, kind of a little out of left field a few weeks back. Didn't know much about it, didn't know much about Women in Cloud, the event itself. I had definitely heard of it. I had never attended. And when it was described to me what they were looking for and what the conversation was in particular, I just started laughing. I'm like, this is literally what I'm focusing my time, energy, and life on right now. So couldn't be happier to be here today and to kick off what's going to be a great panel session with all of the women that were just announced. But I, too, am a big fan of storytelling. So I'm going to launch into a couple of stories before we go to our next session that I think will kind of get our minds flowing around this topic. And I think we're at a really interesting time in the topic itself. So first of all, to back up a little bit, I have been with Accenture over 23 years. I can't believe it when I say it. So I've had I've seen many phases of the life cycle of corporate life during that time. And I've been both on the consulting side, I'm currently on the HR side, but most of my time in HR has been supporting our technologists. So I really do consider myself, number one, a woman in technology. And I had the great good fortune many years back of supporting a practice, a little and very brand new practice in this new space called cloud. Nobody had heard of it. People were confused by what it is. The name seemed very nebulous, all puns intended. And everyone was saying, well, what is cloud? And there were just very few practitioners in this space, but they kept talking about how this is the future. This is the future. This is the way that, we're really going to see this space take off. And so it was interesting because I'm considering what's going on right now with Cloud 2.0. There was a first round of a lot of energy around cloud. I would say, 5-7 years ago, I don't know the exact dates. But during that time with my own career, I was in a role with what was considered our outsourcing or operations business. So we had about 130,000 people in that space all around the globe. Most of them in India and the Philippines, but also in Europe and the United States, everywhere. And we were running the operations for our clients, the back office part of the business. But if you remember that time, if you think back 5 to 7-ish years ago, it was also a great time of automation, right? And so automation is a scary thing, or it was a scary thing to HR practitioners and probably for a lot of technologists as well. Because it was very much equated when it was first described as a place that was also going to take away jobs, right? So we sitting there with so many people and so many lives that were so important for us to keep in the economic space and have economic growth and support their families around the globe, we really had to sit back and think, well, how are we going to, as we automate some people's roles, how are we going to elevate the talent that is already doing that so that they can still be viable and have great careers? And the way we did that was what we called a journey to cloud. And we pivoted 90,000 people into the cloud skill space because there was a need in the market. There was great demand in the market for these skills. that we were able to keep them employed with us, continue on the journey with all of our clients, and we did not have to do any talent and, like having people leave our company because their jobs had gotten automated. So to me, it was one of those moments in my career, where I'd gone from great fear over what might come to actually watching amazing things happen for our people. And I equate what's going on right now to exactly that moment. So what do I mean by that? I took this role on, so I'm now working primarily with our people in the United States. And so I shifted away from that global role and working with our people in the United States, literally 2 weeks prior to COVID hitting to the level that it did in the United States. And so, here I am, I'm the HR lead for this practice of about 11,000 people. And once again, great fear is coming my way because as a consulting firm, we're so dependent on the strength and success of our clients. And we're so dependent on the skills of our people being uber relevant. And as we sat and held our breath there for a few weeks and months, an amazing thing happened. The majority of our clients were sitting back and saying, wow, we were not prepared for this. We did not have the resilience needed in our systems to handle all of our teams going virtual and the virtualization of work. They needed our number one, our consultants more than ever, but number two, they needed people to help them get on the cloud. And so we have seen this resurgence of demand for people with cloud skills. There are not enough people out in the marketplace with them. And this equals opportunity. And what I am determined, and I know that everyone who's on this meeting today, I'm sure is also determined, is to not let this moment where there is so much opportunity for economic growth not go to women. I actually am determined for it to be something that both women and minorities are able to take part in. But for this conversation, let's focus on women. And what has been really fascinating to me, in addition to this amazing economic opportunity where we have a moment, it's coming at a time when, as you've all, I'm sure, heard the term she-cession. So we're seeing, as Gail had already mentioned, this unbelievable level of women leaving the workplace, whether it's because they were in the service industry and their job is not there right now, or because there's pressures at home and they just felt like they could not do it all. We're seeing that in droves, and it's again one of those scary moments to me. But what I also think is that what's amazing and what we're going to be able to take advantage of, all of us, all the people on this I wouldn't call it a call, on our session in our conference, is that it's also a moment of epic disruption. And what I mean by that is, I have been studying this problem for years, right? Meaning, how come more women are not in the tech space? Also, how come more minorities were not in the tech space? And for both of those, they have different problems and different nuances, but a lot of it comes down to access to those jobs. And access, if you dig underneath what that means, really comes down to our companies supporting women to be able to do those jobs. And for my company in particular, what I think is really interesting is I could look in the mirror prior to last March and say, we were not doing the best we could to do that, especially because, as those of you who know this consulting space, travel and the very kind of, grind 7 days a week lifestyle that was expected was preeminent. Well, guess what happened with this pandemic? With all the nightmare that it brought to us, what it has also done is disrupted work in such a way that we, have all proved we can work virtually, work different hours than we've worked before, and still get our jobs done. More than any kind of theses people had written, or, let me bring this into my bosses and say, I know we could do this if we just try. The pandemic made that real. And so what's very cool to me is that we now have an opportunity, everyone on this conversation, whether you're looking for a job in cloud or you're an employer and need more women in cloud, we can say we've proven it can be done. We don't have to go back. And that opens the doors and our opportunity for everybody. And so to me, that's super, super exciting. I know I'm probably getting to my time, but I have to leave with a few tips. So I really thought of this from two directions. Number one, if I'm talking to those of you out there who are employers, right, or in a space where you can employ more women in the cloud space, here is what I ask of you to absolutely do to help make sure that we can get more women here. Number one, when you have your women, when you're looking for women to join you, are they looking around and seeing other people like them? So, you know, when you have your interview team and the people they meet in the office, that's critical that they feel like this is a place that they can feel comfortable. Number two, and this one was a real aha moment for me. How about your job descriptions, right? Have your job descriptions been written in such a way that 80% of women are going to look at that and say, I don't fit that criteria. That's not what I'm going for. What we're trying to do here, and I advise everyone to do, is lift those up a level. Take off, it's the 80-20 rule. Get it 80% of where you want it to be. The 20% you can train, learn, grow, develop, and you will open the door to more people. And number three, are your policies women friendly? Are they people friendly, really? Because I think both men and women desire the same things. But as I had mentioned, we now have time, because what had happened since last March is we've all adjusted, but we think we've adjusted temporarily. Why can't we adjust permanently to the way we've been doing our work? And again, that just completely opens up the door for more people. And so then for those of you who are out there who are looking to get into this space or trying to break into specific companies, the time is now. We need you more than ever. My number one piece of career advice anytime people ask me is to go where the growth is. Well, the growth is here. If you're in a space where you felt like, well, I don't really have the background for this, how do I do this? Companies there aren't enough people out there with this talent, so they're willing to develop it. So if you're willing to meet them halfway by saying, look, I did the things I could do to educate myself, here's what those things are, I'd like to join you, and if you help me get the rest of the way, we'll do great things together, that's going to go a long way. And certifications, many companies are willing to sponsor people in that space right now. Here's my recommendation. There's three great certifications to get in this space: AWS, Google, and the MS Azure certification, and many, many more. So, okay, I know I've probably hit my time. As you can see, it's a topic near and dear to my heart.